There's an old story about a man who was on his way home one day and came across a butterfly cocoon. Yes, I know, technically it's called a chrysalis, not a cocoon, but it's just a lot easier to say, so stick with me. He paused to admire the cocoon, and much to his surprise, he noticed that the butterfly inside was trying to hatch. Well, I'll never see anything like this ever again, he said to himself. So he waited and watched the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to force its body through the tiny hole. But all at once, the butterfly just stopped. It was as if the butterfly had given up. Poor thing, just needs some help, he said. So he took a pair of scissors and snipped off the remaining bits of the cocoon. Imagine how excited he'll be to finally be free, he said to himself, feeling a little extra proud for helping the butterfly in need. And with the greatest of ease, the butterfly emerged from the cocoon and quickly fell to the ground. Its wings were small and shriveled. Its body was swollen, just laying there on the ground. Surely, he thought, any moment now the butterfly's wings will expand and this beautiful creature will fly off into its newfound freedom. But it never did. The butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling on the ground, never seeing life from the air as it was meant because its wings never fully developed before leaving the cocoon. In his kindness and wanting to help the butterfly, he didn't understand how the struggle was part of nature's plan. You see, the restricting cocoon and the struggle required for the butterfly to get through that tiny opening, that's nature's way of forcing fluid from the body of the butterfly into its wings so that it would be ready for flight once it achieved its freedom from the cocoon. Now, I'm going to say that again, but in a simpler way. When a butterfly struggles and squeezes its way out of a cocoon, it literally kicks its way out. And when this happens, it shapes its form, preparing it to fly. For a butterfly, flying is easy. It has the wings to carry it. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. For me, butterflies come in a tight second place as my favorite animal. The jellyfish is first, if anyone is keeping score. But I'm fascinated by butterflies. Their colors, they're constantly adapting, they're growing, they're changing, they're evolving. A life cycle starting from egg through caterpillar, then to chrysalis, and then finally to this delicate but brazenly captivating butterfly. I mean, they're just remarkable. So let me skim through really quick a few of its 4 cycles. It starts as an egg, and then it moves to the caterpillar stage, which is super fun because during the caterpillar stage, its entire existence is centered around one thing: food. And that's it. That's all a caterpillar does. It just eats all day. It stores every bit of this food for later when it's an adult. And yes, caterpillars are super fun to play with. Maybe not now, knowing that it has a full stomach all the time. But in the chrysalis stage, that is where the magic happens. Some caterpillars will spin themselves a silk cocoon, which is a bit fancy, if I may say, but most of them, they anchor themselves to a safe place while they slowly harden and turn into a chrysalis. And then they wait. Some for only a few weeks, but others, they can stay here for up to 2 years, waiting, just waiting. I mean, they don't even know but what they're going to be. But if they only knew what a thing of beauty and of purpose that they will eventually become, I can imagine they would wait even longer. I've heard from many of you, so I'm going to ask, how many of you are there right now where you've waited, where you've been through your weeks of struggle, your months, your 2 years of just struggle, hardship, of one emotional obstacle after the other? How many of you are saying, I don't want to do this anymore? I'm ready for this season. I'm ready for this stage to be over. I don't want to do this anymore. I understand. I hear from a lot of you who have had your seasons. I've had my seasons of being done waiting, those times where I've looked around to see friends at the top of their career, their life goals checked off, while I can barely keep anything together, or at that time, I just didn't want that anymore. I wanted something different. For those of you that are saying, I don't want to do this anymore, sit with me in this, as what I'm about to say may give you some hope. When the cocoon becomes weak enough, the butterfly kicks its way out. It literally kicks its way out. Did you hear that? Like, when the butterfly is ready, when the moment arrives, when the time has come for this butterfly to color the world, it kicks its way out. It breaks through. And for some of you, you are in this season where you feel like you're bound to this thread that's wrapped around you, that there's something squeezing the life out of you, and you see no way out, no possibility of hope. You don't understand how this could be happening to you again. This heaviness pressing in on you, suffocating you. In these moments, it's easy to give up, to let go and say, you know what, this is it. I can't do this anymore. I've kicked and I can't kick anymore. My legs are tired. My body is tired. My mind is tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I hear you. I do. But if I can just ask, for me, just it's just you and I right now. If I can just ask one more. Just one more. One more kick. Just one more time. I know you have it in you. One more time. I know you're tired. I know you're tired. I'd like for you to say this after me. I'm going to say something, and I'd like for you to repeat it, okay? So say this after me. One more time. I love that. I'm going to say that again, so say it with me. One more time. You're literally just a kick away. I know you are. I know you are. Just one more time. Do you remember the man from the story that wanted to help, that wanted to rush the process too soon? He cutting out the obstacle, which kept the butterfly weak and little to no chance of surviving. Had he waited for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, he would have seen the most glorious moment in nature. You see, after kicking the door down, the butterfly crawls out of the cocoon. It then hangs upside down as it dries its wings, preparing for flight. And guess what? Usually that is anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours tops. And then it's catching air. But imagine had the guy waited just the smallest amount. Imagine the stories that he could have just told about watching this beautiful transition of life. Imagine. I know that many of you don't want to do this anymore. The ups and downs and the setbacks and the loneliness and the various stages that you're going through emotionally. I know. But if you knew what you were waiting for, if you knew, you would eventually turn into this butterfly of a person. Would you wait one more day? Would you kick once more? One more time? You're there. You are there. Just one more time. You will overcome. You will. I know you will. And when you do, when you overcome, because I know that you will, because that last kick is going to be so good and you're going to see that breakthrough and you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I did it. I did it. And when you kick through, before you share your brilliant, beautiful colors throughout the gardens of others' lives, I want you to stop for a moment. And I want you to tell yourself, I did it. I did. I was really strong enough. I really did it. Because you are. And you can. One more time. Just one more time. For more episodes, concert dates, or to send me some delicious chocolate chip cookies, visit cometdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized sweet tooth. Now, before we part ways, I want to remind you that the views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended to serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnoses rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Please seek the advice of a licensed physician or therapist for any medical or emotional concerns. I'm not a licensed therapist or physician, but I am an empath by nature, and I hope this and future podcast episodes can aid your emotional needs. To find a list of licensed professionals in your area, visit cometdownpodcast.com. And if you enjoy this podcast and want to support the time, the person involved, and content you hear each week, please consider pitching in $2 or $3 a month. Your contribution will help keep this podcast ad-free. Visit cometdownpodcast.com, look for the white coffee cup with the heart in the center, or scan the QR code at the bottom of the page. Again, cometdownpodcast.com. Remember, be kind to your mind. And join me next week as we